Dubai. Can you hear me? Yes. Well, I'm super happy to be here, super honored. I'm from the United States, so I probably have the shortest commute today. In all seriousness, really honored to be here to share some of the things that help save my life and the things that I use to change lives every single day. So before we get started and get into the meat of it, I would like to start with kind of sharing a little bit of a history and background of myself so you know where I'm coming from, why I'm so passionate, and why I do what I do. So at the age of 18, I found myself in a dorm room, body full of acne, extreme joint pain. I was going to the bathroom over 20 times a day. I would soon lose about 30% of my body weight. And it was very scary. Of course it was. And there's a lot of uncertainty with it. You know, how could a college athlete go from squatting over 300 pounds to having to be carried to the bed because they're in so much pain they can't stand up straight? But that was my reality. That's where I was living. And to make matters worse, things were also uncertain with the doctors. I went through multiple colonoscopies, CT scans, labs on labs on labs. And every doctor had a different opinion. I got diagnosed with multiple things: ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, pancreatitis, with a whole bunch of, other theories or, theories or ideas of what could be going on with my body. But one thing was certain was my prognosis was poor. And I asked the doctors, what can I do? What can I do to help myself? What can I do to get my life back? And the answer was not much. It kind of is what it is. And basically, I fell into a belief that I was just dealt a bad hand. And it kind of is what it is. But after further reflection, I kind of came to the understanding that, God didn't have a predestination for me to lose my health at 18. He didn't design my body to break down at the age of 18. So I went into a new realm of education, self-empowerment, trial and error, kind of using myself as a guinea pig, working with mentors across multiple fields to help get my life back. And I'm blessed to say today I'm healthier than I ever was before. I not only got my life back, but I was healthier than before even all of my health struggles. I was able to turn my trauma, all the loneliness, all of the depression, the anger, the anxiety into an experience to help other people. And that's what I do on a daily basis. Now, one thing about my story that I really want to emphasize, because I don't think enough people emphasize healing journeys, is healing is not linear. Healing looks very much like the stock market, on a week-to-week, month-to-month basis. It can go up and down. There's uncertainties. But when you zoom out, it seems obvious. You can do it. It's going up, and it's a good story. But I just want everyone to know that it wasn't always easy, and it's not always easy. But it was founded in education. And education was one of the first pillars that helped me get my life back. So the Latin root word also for doctor is teacher. So today I'm going to be teaching on education, health education. Because whether you have lost your health and fighting to get it back, or you haven't been diagnosed with anything, but you want to maintain it healthy, you need a strong education to make sure you have good future outcomes. Now, one thing, when I started studying at the University of South Carolina with my degree as a public health major, I realized I wasn't alone. In fact, what I was going through was kind of common. In 2023, the CDC reported that over 75% of American adults were diagnosed with at least one chronic disease. And those numbers are rising, especially in children. We see autism, ADHD, all types of things, peanut allergies increasing on a weekly basis. Heart disease continues to be the leading cause of death. Cancer incidence rates continues to rise despite all the money poured into research. So I realized I wasn't alone, and I was set on a mission to help others. So let's get into some health education. First of all, it's important to understand that there's usually, almost always, multiple variables in play. Your body's strong enough to take on a single variable. It's strong enough to take on an H. pylori infection. It's strong enough to take on a death in the family. It's strong enough to take on a car accident. But what can happen is you can get multiple issues at the same time where the body becomes overwhelmed, and that's when symptoms start to manifest. So I believe one issue we have with health is we're always looking for one cause and one result. So one cause, one result, when in fact, different causes can manifest into the same result, where the same cause can manifest in different results, depending on people's predispositions and what they're exposed to. So every human body is like a bucket, and the bucket fills up with water, fills up with water, fills up with water. When the water starts to overflow from the bucket is when you get negative health effects, side effects, and symptoms. So I like to look at every patient as if they're a bucket, right? And most of the patients that come to me, their buckets are overflowing. It's why they're looking for help. So this is just a really good visual because you can see how the body only has so much capacity, and eventually it's going to overwhelm and overflow. Now, what is water that is filling the bucket? Water is stress, and it's not the stress of getting cut off by someone in a taxi. It's the chronic stress. It's the poor diet. It's the environmental toxins. It's those things that are weighing the body down. And your body doesn't really matter what stress is coming in. It just knows that it's stress, and it knows it's negatively affecting the body. So this can be very overwhelming, especially if you're sick, because if you're dealing with chronic health issues, you are very overwhelmed, especially trying to reverse engineer what got you sick. So what's really important is when you feel overwhelmed, to simplify. I always like to use those words together. Overwhelm, simplify. Overwhelm, simplify. So to simplify the healing process, I brought it down to 3 stages. First, stabilization. You first have to calm the body. You have to get time on your side. People who are dealing with negative health outcomes, time's against them. So the first thing you got to do is stabilize and calm the body, focus on the parasympathetic nervous system. And again, my favorite word, simplification. The best way to stabilize is through simplification. The second is to find root cause and eliminate it. So once you've stopped pouring water in the bucket, the next step is to start to get the water out of the bucket and start detoxing, figuring out how to get water out so that when water does come in, it's not going to overflow. And then last but not least is expand, live a life of abundance. You know, everyone knows the ancient philosopher who said, a man who is healthy wants 1,000 things, but a man who is sick only wants one thing. And people that are sick know how true that is. But stage 3 is where it gets really fun working with patients. And, you know, a lot of people that are sick can't even see stage 3 because they're so deep with their health. So the stresses, again, there's chemical, physical, emotional. There's hundreds of examples of each one. And I'm seeing new ones come up every day, talking with patients, understanding their history, and learning from them. Now, you know, this isn't theory either. We know of the word carcinogens, which is commonly used with cancer diagnoses. A common one is smoking cigarettes. But what can be confusing about that is not everyone that smokes cigarettes gets cancer. It just increases your chance. And again, it goes because some people's buckets are overflowing, and the cigarettes are a contributor to that bucket that overflows. So when you look at health, if you're trying to manage the symptoms to fix the solution, it's kind of like trying to put tape on a dam, where it's going to be a temporary fix, but unless you structurally fix it, it's just going to be repetitive taping. Okay, so how do we start to stop adding water to our bucket? Well, we try to find, or we don't try, but we find where the water is coming from, and we cut it. And again, that's through simplifying your daily routine and simplifying your daily protocol within lifestyle, within diet, within what you're exposed to, and so forth. Next is emptying the water out of the bucket, right? So diving into that root cause, trying to use functional lab work, health assessments, history, talking with mentors, talking with doctors of different fields, and figuring out what are some of the things that cause your health to decline so then that you can get better. Now, that being said, if your health hasn't declined yet, where can you locate these before they arise? Because prevention is way easier than reversal. And everyone here has a human body, and we should all honor it and want to be healthy because that's how we were designed to be. And of course, living a life of purpose, and learning how to thrive. This is stage 3, and this is where things get really fun. Because once you do get your health back, and once you are healthy, you can focus on the things you want in life. So, another really important talking point and teaching moment here is the importance of environment over genetics. A lot of people don't know, but corn has more genes. Corn has more genes than the human body. And I think everyone in this room is smarter than corn. So, the new science of genes is really cool. It's important because if we can understand our genes better and we can personalize medicine better, obviously that's better. But we still need to understand environment has a bigger role. It has a bigger role. And within genes, we also have the science of epigenetics. The genes turn on and off. So even if we do go in the genes realm, we understand that the environment can turn genes on and off. And again, we have way more control over our environment than our genes. So one of the last things I'll leave you here with today is health is how you function. This is a really important thing to internalize and understand for yourself. Because oftentimes in this world, we look at health as how you look, or maybe even how you feel. But if we go back to the United States, the leading cause of death is heart disease. You don't feel a heart attack coming on for years. It just comes. So I want you to go deeper than the way you look, even the way you feel, and understand health is way deeper. And you need to start looking at your bucket, start taking water out, and keeping the bucket low. So again, you can take on stress in your life because we should all be able to take on stress and live the life we want. So one action step for you today is, where can I locate something in my life to make me healthier for the future? Whether it's trying to get healthier or whether it's trying to maintain your health for a longer period of time. What's one thing you can do to remove your bucket? Thank you very much.